All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll be talking about some simple jazz chords and how to apply them in an easy manner. So come on, let's go check it out. Okay, so for this lesson, we're going to be talking about 10 chord shapes that will get your playing from, we're going to call it like a normal guitar sound. So like your normal bar chords, or even your open string chords, that kind of sound, to more of a jazz specific sound. And how to apply that in the second part of this video. So we'll leave timestamps down in the description as always, so you can skip around if you want to. As a preference to this lesson, if you haven't watched my series on unlocking the fretboard, that might be a good idea. I'll leave a link up here in the top for that. That will give you a good background on my method of teaching the fretboard and kind of how I understand it. And I feel like it's a really easy method to kind of understand, to unlock different keys and just understand this matrix that we call a fretboard. So with these first series, we're going to start on the 6th string, and we're going to start on the 3rd fret for these on the 6th string. So our root note is going to be that G, and for this first chord we're going to play a major 7th chord. So this will have a little bit of overlap with the previous series that I was just talking about, but we're going to expand upon that as well. So this first one actually is an overlap with that. So the difference between this chord and say the triads, or your normal kind of open chords or bar chords that we typically play, is those triads are 3-note chords, where this major 7th chord is a 4-note chord. So the triads will use your root, the major 3rd, and the 5th. In jazz, we're going to add one more to that, your root, 3rd, 5th, and major 7th. And sometimes even your 9ths, 11ths, and 13ths. And we'll talk about those later on a little bit more. But for right now, the root, 5th, the root, 3rd, 5th, and 7th. So again, we're going to reorder that. So we're playing it like this. So your first finger is going to be on the G, as I was mentioning before. Then we're going to skip the 5th string, and your ring finger is going to be on the 4th fret of the 4th string, which is F sharp. Your pinky will be on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, which is the note B. And your middle finger will be on the 2nd string on the 3rd fret, which is the note D. So that's your root, major 7th, major 3rd, and 5th. The second chord is your minor 7th chord. So this one, again, we're going to keep that same root, but we're going to switch to our middle finger. And then the rest of the chord is, as far as how you play it, is pretty simple. It's all on the 3rd fret. Again, on the same 3 strings we just played. So we have G as our root. Again, skip the 5th string, and then the 3rd fret on the 4th is F natural, so that's your minor 7th. And then the 3rd fret on the 3rd string is B flat, which is your minor 3rd. And then your same 5th, the D note on the 2nd string. So those combination of notes gives you a minor 7th. The 3rd voicing here we're going to use is a dominant 7th. And in this case, it's a dominant 7 with a 13th on the top. So you may or may not know, but a dominant 7th is a major triad with a minor 7. So the major 7th, just to clarify here, was a major triad with a major 7. Dominant is a major triad with a minor 7. So that 7th is going to be 1 fret lower. So going back to our voicing here, we're starting again with our first finger on that G. Then again, skipping the 5th string. All of these for the 6th string root is going to skip the 5th string. Then your F natural which would be your middle finger, which again is the minor 7th. Your ring finger on that B again, and again that's your major 3rd. And then your pinky is going to be on the 5th fret here on the 2nd string, and that's the note E, which is your 13th on a G chord. So that will give you a dominant 7th with a 13th. The 4th chord here is a minor 7 flat 5, or a what's called a half diminished in the jazz world. You'll hear it said both ways by different people, so it's kind of good to know the terminology for both. But again, it's similar to the minor 7th we did, but we're going to flat that 5th on the top. So we'll start the same way, the G with your middle finger, the F natural with your ring finger, the B flat with your pinky, but this time your first finger is going to be playing a D flat, which is again your flat 5. So that will again give you a minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished. And the final voicing we're going to use on the 6th string is an altered dominant sound. And the one we're going to use here is a G7 with a sharp 5 or a flat 13, however you want to think about it. So the bottom part of this chord, or the first 3 notes of it, are going to be the same as we played with the dominant 7th with the 13th. So again, you'll have that G, the F, and the B. But this time, instead of having your pinky on the 5th fret, you're going to put it on the 4th fret, which will give you either a flat 13 or a sharp 5 from D sharp, or excuse me, from D to D sharp, or flat 13, E to E flat. So again, that's a dominant 7th, sharp 5, or flat 13, and that's used in place of an altered dominant sound. Okay, so our 5th string chords, now we have 5 more shapes, and I'm going to stay on the 3rd fret just to keep everything consistent. And our first shape, again, will overlap a little bit with the previous series that we did. So this one is your major 7th, but on the 5th string. So again, 4 notes, but now we're on our root note of C. So this is going to be a C major 7. So our notes for C are your root C. The major 3rd is E. The 5th is G. And then the major 7th is B. So again, we're going to reorder that and put the E on the top here. So your 3rd fret on the 5th string is your root. That'll be your index finger, sorry. Your ring finger is the 5th, and that's going to be on the 4th string on the 5th fret, which is the note G. Your middle finger is on the 4th string on the 4th fret, which is the note B, which is your major 7th. And then your high E, or the 5th fret on the 2nd string, is your pinky, and that is your major 3rd. Okay, for our minor voicing, we're going to use this minor 9 voicing rather than the minor 7th. We're going to extend it 1 extra note, so we have a 9th on it. So the root is going to stay the same of our C on the 5th string. Now you're going to stretch your first finger back to E flat. That's your minor 3rd. And then your ring finger, oh, excuse me, that's on the 1st fret of the 4th string, that E flat. The B flat is the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, and that's your minor 7th. And that's your ring finger. And then your pinky will be the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, or the D note, which is your 9th in this case. So it's root, minor third, minor 7, 9. And again, that is a minor 9 voicing. For our dominant sound, we're actually going to keep this same hand position, but we're going to move the first finger up 1 fret. And doing that while keeping the other 3 notes the same gives you a dominant 9th sound. So the root C, now your major third, which is E natural, your minor 7th, which is B flat again, and then that 9th, which is D again. So those 3 are common between the two. Just to make it the dominant 7th with a 9th, you're going to take that first finger from E flat up to E natural. So again, dominant 9. For our half diminished voicing, it's very similar to the major 7th that we played, but you're going to bring all 3 of these fingers back 1 fret. Or you can think about it as moving your first finger up a fret. But again, we're just going to keep that root on the C for right now. So a minor 7, flat 5, or half diminished is going to be C. Then your ring finger is going to be on the 4th fret, which in this case we're going to call G flat because flat 5. And then B flat with your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. And then the E flat on the the 2nd string on the 4th fret. That's your pinky. So again, C, G flat, B flat, E flat. And that's a half diminished or minor 7 flat 5. Lastly, our altered dominant sound. You might know this chord from Jimi Hendrix music. But this one is a dominant 7th, just like that 9th voicing we used a minute ago. But this time we have a sharp 9. So the only thing you're going to do is take your pinky from that dominant 7 with the 9th voicing, and you're going to move your pinky up 1 fret. So sharp 9. So again, C is your root, E natural is your major 3rd, B flat is your minor 7th, and then E flat is your sharp 9 in this case. So again, a dominant 7th with a sharp 9 for your altered dominant sound. Alright, so now let's talk about a practical application for these chord voicings. So in jazz music, the primary chord progression that you're going to hear is a 2-5-1. So that would mean in whatever key you're in, you're going to play the 2 chord, which if we're in the key of C would be a D minor chord. Your 5 chord would be G, and your 1 chord would be C. So if we're in the key of C, that would be a primary function. C major, that would be the primary function for these chord voicings. So we would use the minor 9 voicing on the 5th string that we played down here on the 3rd fret. But since we need D minor, you're going to take it up 2 frets to the 5th fret and apply that fingering. So that's your D minor 9 for your 2 chord. Your 5 chord in a major key is always going to be dominant. So we're going to use that G13 with the dominant 7th voicing. And then lastly, our 1 chord is going to be a major 7. So we're going to use the C major 7. So that will give you a 2 to 5, 1. One thing to note is if you're starting on the 5th string, your root is going to go from the 5th to the 6th and then back to the 5th again. So following this 2-5 cycle. The same is true if we do it on the 6th string, but it's the opposite. So it's your root on the 6th string to the 5th, and then down to the, or excuse me, back up to the 6th. So if we're in the key of G, your 2 chord now is A minor, which we're going to use that minor 7th shape for the 6th string root, to the D7 with a 9th, which again is the 5th fret on the 5th string and dominant 7th, to your major 1 of G on the 3rd fret. So major 7th there. So again, A minor, D7 with a 9th, G major 7, now that is all a major 2-5-1 progression. So again, with going back to C real quickly, your 2 chord is always going to be a normal minor 7th chord. Your 5 chord will always be a normal dominant 7th chord. And your 1 chord will always be a normal major 7th chord. Same is true if your roots are on the 6th string. So going back to the key of G for a second, A minor 7, just your normal 7th chord. D7, again, just your normal 7th, dominant 7th chord. And G major 7, just your normal major 7th voicing. When you have a minor 2-5-1, we're going to change that up a little bit. So we're going to use the same root progression. So going back to C, we have D minor, or excuse me, your D root note to G and then to C. So that doesn't change, but the quality of the chord does change. So for our 2 chord, we're going to use the half diminished voicing, or the minor 7 with a flat 5. And again, that's on the root note D, so the 5th fret. Then the 5 chord is always going to be some kind of altered dominant sound. So that will, in this case, be the G7 with a sharp 5 or a flat 13, however you want to think about that voicing. And then your normal minor 7th with a 9th in this case for the 1 chord, so minor 1 in this case. So half diminished 2, altered dominant 7, 5 chord, then minor 1 chord. So that's D half diminished, G7 flat 13, C minor 9. Now the key of G, again, we're going to do the same 3 roots. So the A on the 6th string, D on the 5th, and G on the 6th. But again, our A, since that's our 2 chord, is going to be the half diminished voicing that we use down here. But again, just up 2 frets. Then the D7 with a sharp 9 for our altered 5 chord sound. And then to your normal G minor 7th, excuse me. So again, A half diminished, D7 sharp 9, G minor 7. All right, I wanted to say thank you so much for watching. This is going to be part 1 on a lesson series specific to jazz that I wanted to do this year. So in the future, you can expect a lot more of these type of videos. Also, on my website, there will be PDF downloads of all the stuff covered in this video, and also other lesson videos that I do or have done in the past and in the future as they come out. There will be a link for that down in the description, but you can go to www.joshuaparkermusic.com and find that there, as well as music that I've released and my current schedule and teaching information and all that kind of stuff. So if you're in the Louisville area, you can actually take lessons with me if you would like to, and all the information on how to do that is on the website. So again, thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. See y'all later.